Thanks for joining the Mythic Exploratorium. Today we journey into America's deep south, to the city of Huntsville in North Alabama, where we will explore one of Alabama's most chilling urban legends, the Dead Children's Playground. And be sure to stick around until the end of the video where we'll preview our next episode. Huntsville is a diverse and fast-growing city, known for being the location of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. Less well known, however, is Huntsville's dark past, which gave rise to the urban legend of the Maple Hill Playground, otherwise known as the Dead Children's Playground, which is said to be haunted by the spirits of dead children. Visitors have reported seeing swings moving on their own, disembodied voices of children laughing, and even the spectral images of long-dead children playing. But what's the real story behind this eerie tale? The source of this urban legend is actually found in two different stories. Both stories involve not only Maple Hill Playground, but also Maple Hill Cemetery. This cemetery was officially established in 1822 when the city purchased 2 acres of land from Leroy Pope, who was one of Huntsville's first settlers. However, there is evidence suggesting that the land had been used as a burial ground even before its official establishment. For example, the oldest marked grave is that of Mary Frances Atwood, an infant that died in 1822. The Maple Hill Playground, on the other hand, was built in 1985. The land that the playground sits on was originally a limestone quarry from 1945 to 1955. After the quarry closed, the land was donated to the city and was later developed into Maple Hill Park, where the playground now is. However, the cemetery and the actual playground itself sit adjacent to each other, with the playground nestled in an alcove behind the cemetery. Now let's examine the 2 stories that form the basis of this urban legend. For the first, we have to go back to the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. The 1918 pandemic was one of the deadliest in history, claiming the lives of millions worldwide. In Huntsville, the first cases were reported in late September 1918. Within a few weeks, the number of cases skyrocketed. By October 5th, more than 1,100 cases were reported in Huntsville alone, with 7 deaths in just 24 hours. The situation worsened rapidly, and by mid-October, the city was left with only 1 pharmacist and no physicians available to treat the sick. Public places such as schools, churches, and theaters were closed to prevent the spread of the virus. Despite these measures, the death toll continued to rise. Many children were among the victims, and they were buried in Maple Hill Cemetery. The exact number of children who died in Huntsville from the pandemic isn't known, but it's believed to be in the hundreds, and these poor children are said to be the source of the supernatural sightings in the playground that was built 67 years later. The second source of the legend is arguably an even more disturbing tale, and it involves a series of child abductions that terrorized Huntsville in the 1960s. This dark chapter in the city's history has left a lasting impact on the community and contributed to the playground's haunted reputation. Several children were believed to have been abducted, although the exact number is unclear. No ransom requests for the abducted children were ever made, which led to the belief that the serial killer was abducting these children and murdering them. Sadly, these assumptions were proven true when the skeletal remains and tiny corpses of young children were discovered in the deep pits and hidden cavities of the limestone quarry, where the Maple Hill Park was later built. Despite an extensive investigation, the identity of the killer was never revealed or confirmed, and after the discovery of the bodies, the abduction stopped. But the fear and grief remained. The playground, built in the 1980s on the land where the quarries once existed, quickly became known as the Dead Children's Playground, since almost immediately after the playground was built, locals began reporting supernatural sightings. Some believe that the traumatic events of the 1960s left behind residual energy, which might explain the reported paranormal activities, and the Dead Children's Playground remains a popular spot for both locals and paranormal enthusiasts. However, others say that the playground's proximity to the cemetery and its secluded location can amplify the eerie atmosphere and cause imaginations to run wild, making it a hotspot for ghost stories. Such ones refer to the fact that the playground is surrounded by trees and limestone, which can create eerie shadows and optical illusions. Additionally, the power of suggestion and the spooky atmosphere of the cemetery can make people more susceptible to experiencing supposed paranormal phenomena. So what do you think? Are these stories just the product of overactive imaginations? Or is there something truly supernatural at play? If so, which tale is the source of the sightings? Or perhaps do they both contribute to the paranormal activity of the Dead Children's Playground? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And visit us again next time as we travel to Arizona and explore the legend of Slaughterhouse Canyon. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe so that you won't miss our next one. Until then, we hope you enjoyed your visit to the Mythic Exploratorium.